Make your way to Mercari, Vinted, Pango, or eBay, and you'll see some interesting books for sale. These books are going for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, and they have the book community up in arms. So, what gives? Why are these books so expensive, and how can there possibly be so much drama over a load of paper? This is an advanced reader's copy of a book, ARC for short. It's a free copy of a book given to book reviewers, influencers, booksellers, and libraries before the final version of the book is published. The main purpose is to get it in the hands of influential people before the book is available to the wider public. They will either post reviews about the book online, be it Goodreads or The Guardian, or have certain purchasing power, be it either a bookstore or a library. It's essentially a marketing tool one used to give the book as good a chance as possible on release, because there will already be a bank of ideally positive reviews and plenty of online stores and libraries ready with a supply for the buying public. This version of the book is technically unfinished, so reviewers are meant to take any errors they see with a pinch of salt. You're getting an early look, so cut them some slack. And as you can see, the cover is just a little bit different from the final copy of the book, so they feel different and sometimes they feel pretty special too. So you might be wondering, well, they do look pretty special, and if a limited number is sent out to influential people ahead of release, then it makes sense that people would sell them. They're rare and they look cool too. And while yes, that's of course true, there's one reason why you wouldn't sell these books because the publisher specifically says you shouldn't. Open up any advanced reader's copy of a book and you'll see something very similar to the following. It's essentially a statement that tells you not to resell the book, and if you do, you'll be in deep doo-doo. A lot of these statements use a lot of legalese to put the fear in you and discourage you from reselling. They're basically saying that they sent you a free copy of the book under certain conditions, which creates a kind of contractual obligation, and any restrictions under that obligation apply to you. So if you resell it, they could pursue you, or at the very least, they will stop sending you advanced readers' copies of books. You'll probably be blacklisted. But while this language seems to have some legal bearing, is it actually enforceable? In the words of Pink Pantheress, is this legal? It feels illegal. Well, no, it's not illegal, really. While publishers can pursue you for reselling an advanced reader's copy of a book, the likelihood is kind of slim. First, there's the grey area of the first sale doctrine in the US, which states that once a physical item is sold to you, the seller loses control over what happens to that item, which means you can do what you want to it, as in sell it, lend it, or give it away. Some would say this applies to advanced readers' copies too, but because this is technically a gift and it's not being sold to you, it's a grey area. There are similar concepts in the UK and Europe, but they again apply to sold items, so while it could be argued, it's not foolproof. As far as a publisher going after you for selling an advanced reader's copy, though, although there have been no examples of this that I have found, there are a few cases which they probably could. One is if you literally sign something in order to get the advanced reader's copy. So if you're a bookseller or librarian or even a regular reviewer, you might have signed some kind of agreement that would get you access to a lot of future arcs from the publisher. If that's the case and you've been found to be selling those, especially before the publication date, well then I think you might be in some trouble. If you're running some kind of business based on the reselling of ARCs, they could probably pursue you then too. There are some eBay or Vinted sellers that I showed earlier who are veering into that territory. They're building a business around making money from these free books, which is obvious given how many listings they have. If you were somebody who sold a very high profile arc, which then leaked the plot details of a major release, it could be argued that you cost the publishing house money. They could then potentially pursue you. Or if publishers are really starting to get annoyed with all of these ARC sales, they may just pick a seller to make an example of, especially if they can link that seller to somebody they know has signed up for an ARC via a form or their website. This is all speculation though. There have been no cases of this happening that I could find, but it could happen, especially if people are really pushing it right now, you know? But honestly, there's another side to all of this too. Let's say you go to a book convention like BookCon and you're given a whole host of advanced readers' copies of books. Publishers tend to have stalls at these events where they have ARC giveaways, or you can spin a wheel to try and get them, or you just stand in line to receive them. You can come home with a lot of these things, I know, because at the Young Adult Book Convention in London, I came home with a good few. Under these conditions, can anyone really say that you entered into any kind of contractual agreement? You didn't fill out a form, you didn't sign anything, you just turned up and were given a free book. The idea of these things is to drum up even more hype for a book before release at an event like this, and it works. But the trade-off is that people go straight onto Vinted or eBay and sell these highly sought-after books for extortionate prices. So what's the big deal anyway? Sure, the books say don't do it, and the publisher, of course, doesn't want you to, but why should you not sell advanced readers' copies? Why should you care? I understand that if they're looking to make a quick bit of cash, then selling an advanced reader's copy, especially if they're worth quite a bit, might be tempting prospect. But if we care at all about the authors and their work, here's why people should think again. They got that book for free, right? They didn't pay anyone anything. So if they're selling it, they're essentially making 100% profit. The author, however, especially an indie author who may have paid for those books to be printed out of pocket, gets nothing for that sale. They're essentially making money off an author's work without them receiving anything. This doesn't impact a nameless, faceless person, it impacts someone real, someone who has spent years of their life creating this piece of work that people are selling. Aside from this, which feels like it should be enough on its own, the prices people are selling these books for are outrageous. Earlier in the year, I did a video on book scalpers, and these ARC prices are veering right into that territory. I believe the majority of people making these sales get free ARCs at events rather than applying for them and then selling them. For those who have applied, by reselling immediately and before publication without even reviewing, they're doing the whole system a disservice to personally profit from it. Can you imagine if game reviewers did this? They got a key for a game pre-release, and instead of playing and reviewing the game, they sold it on instead. Doesn't sound quite right, does it? They'd be leaking a game, and if that version of the game wasn't quite finished, they'd be doing a disservice to the game's reputation too. I feel like with many things these days, we're running into a culture problem, and I'll be honest, people selling these books aren't entirely to blame. If you're on TikTok, you may have seen various clips of various book events circling. This one is from the Barnes & Noble Union Square Book Fest in New York City. Attendees had to pay to get in, but you could get unlimited ARCs from publisher tables. You can imagine that this was a bit of a chaotic free-for-all, and attendees didn't exactly have the best time, even if they did come away with a lot of free books. A similar thing happened at BookCon. The lines for ARCs were jammed and long, and there were reports of people being pushed without any crowd control. This kind of free-for-all FOMO ARC delivery does nobody any favors, and I firmly believe that this is not the fault of the people at these events. It's up to the event itself, and yes, even the publishers, to reflect on how these events went and make different choices next time. There is really no need for people to essentially do battle for a free book, no matter how hotly anticipated that book is. This kind of format makes people want the book even more. It's all psychology. Plus, when events like this throw ARCs at people, the inevitable happens. People go onto reseller websites and sell them to people who missed out. A lot of people pay to attend these events for the free books alone. The fact that an event that's meant to help you feel connected to authors has become one big free book drop feels kind of sad to me. Aside from these highly stressful events, the ARC chasing game itself can be very stressful too. If you have a good feeling you'll love a book and you apply for it, the disappointment you feel when you don't get approved is pretty hard to take. I have talked about this before, and if you've never tried applying for ARCs before, trust me when I say it feels personal. Okay, so is there really any solution to this? Because if you do get an advanced reader's copy of a book and you're not a fan after reading, or you get it in an event and you decide you don't want to keep it, what on earth do you do with it? The first thing is to give the ARC away. If you know someone who might like the book, give it to them. If you don't, it could be donated to a little free library. Either that, or if you have some kind of social media presence, even a small one, you could do a giveaway and ask people to pay for shipping only. Trading ARCs is also a potential option, although some publishers don't like the idea of that either. Lastly, you could recycle them, and I know recycling a book feels wrong, like really wrong. But if you don't want to keep it and you've exhausted all your other options, then you absolutely can recycle it. So that's us, but what about publishers? Because they have their own role to play. From all the research I've done on this topic, a lot of people online say that publishers don't care. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they care, it's just that they can't do as much as they'd like, or they've made some mistakes along the way, especially when it comes to events anyway. PR companies like Black Crow have a bit more skin in the game, so are clearly not happy about this as a result. But for most of these companies, although they could and should number the ARCs they give away and put some better strategies in place for events, once someone sells one online, it's a matter of being reactive rather than proactive. All they can do is blacklist them. As witness to this, reporting sellers on these platforms also, I'm sorry to say, is a little pointless. By all means, keep doing it, but the platforms they sell on don't see them as breaking any rules, so the listings don't get taken down. Oh, and it goes without saying, but don't buy these books. I know they look cool, I know they seem like collector's items, but if people keep buying these, especially at these prices, people will keep selling them, and it's just going to get worse and worse. The prices are going to go up. It's just how it works. We don't need an ARC underground economy. So what do you think? How do you feel about people selling advanced readers' copies of books? Let's chat in the comments, and I'll see you next time for another video.